Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby, Koay, joined by ACHARA, KIRK.
Hi, guys.
We watched Encanto several days ago, actually, and we're just now doing a review because there were some embargoes and whatnot. The first thing I want to say about this movie is I watched this relatively close to watching Eternals, and it was shocking to me, that I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Eternals. You're dealing with similar concepts, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. You're dealing with a family of superheroes that sort of gets broken up and has to be brought back together.
Yeah.
Encanto is a shorter movie. It's like 90 minutes or something. It's so much more emotionally impactful. It's so much more meaningful for me, and it's so much more entertaining all around. Like it did all the things I wanted from a movie. And I'm not even a musical person, and I liked a lot of the songs in this movie. It had everything I wanted in an animation, but most importantly, it touched me.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I thought it was really great. And like you said, you know, similarly to Eternals, there are so many characters and you feel for them. They're all unique and interesting. The storyline is really great.
The sex scene in this one was so much better, by the way.
Oh, 100%. Definitely you can bring your kids to watch that.
Parents are like, cover your ears, what?
No, there's no sex scene. I was incredibly moved by this. I feel like this is one of those movies that you'll take the kids and the kids will kind of enjoy the surface stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like the colors and the characters and the fun and the music. You know, Lin-Manuel Miranda did a fabulous job with the music in this.
Yes, he did.
You know, it's giving you that Colombian vibe. You get a feel of the culture. It's lovely, and I think kids will enjoy that. And then there's this deeper message, which to me was kind of speaking to generational trauma and trying to please your family and all of that, which I feel as adults, maybe a lot of us can relate, especially like immigrant families, Asians. As an Asian, I'm like, yep, that's too real. Oh my God. I wish my mom had said that to me. Why wouldn't she? Maybe I should just make her watch this movie and be like, Mom, this is what I need from you.
Just a real quick summary from IMDb. A young Colombian girl has to face the frustration of being the only member of her family without magical powers. I enjoyed the characters in here. I thought all the characters were adorable in this movie.
The whole story being about family and kind of, like you said, it kind of being torn apart and then how they come together and bring it all back together. It was just so touching.
I thought the songs were really fun here because they helped facilitate the storytelling. You know, as someone who watches a lot of Indian films, I've been exposed to way more musicals now that I've actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
But there are instances where you're watching musicals, you know, in Indian cinema and you're like, okay, those songs didn't actually help anything. It's just literally for the soundtrack. That's kind of like what we used to do a lot, where we had soundtracks in the 90s and where it's like, these are songs in the movies just to sell the CDs or the cassette tapes, right? Disney still kind of does that a little bit. But here, the songs were actually very, very helpful for the storytelling. Oh, the only song I didn't like was the first one because I couldn't hear what was being said.
Yeah, the first song was not the strongest song, but then every single song after that, I was like, oh my God, these are great. And even after we left the show, we were singing one of the songs with our friend because it was just so funny and catchy.
Even from a visual standpoint, it's a very vibrant movie. It's very colorful, and I like that aspect of it, like the environments and the house. It's like most of the movie actually takes place inside this house, and on paper that sounds kind of boring, but you watch it and there's so much going on. It's almost like Hogwarts or something because it's so big and magical. The adventures that happen within the house are so huge. It's like, it's really fun. It's a really fun movie. It checks off all the boxes that I want in a film, and especially an animated film, where it's the animation's beautiful, it's very colorful, it's very emotional. There are lessons involved in the film, like you were saying about trauma, and that's some stuff that maybe kids won't really get, but if they're curious, they can ask their parents about it, and those are very, very good conversations to invite, because I feel like a lot of that stuff is sort of swept under the rug and we don't really address it, but this movie allows us to address it. And for me, I would have loved that conversation as a kid because I have dealt with drama that has been passed from generation to generation. And so this movie really spoke to me. And then there's also the angle of not understanding each other's perspectives. This movie really addresses that conversation in a very, very good way. So the only thing I hold against the movie, even though it worked on me, is that there's this emotionally manipulative moment in the film. It's a music cue that indicated it, and I was mad as when it happened because I started crying, and I'm like, no, but like I knew that was gonna happen though, and it was the music and the way that it was being shown and like it shot.
You just ride the emotion. Don't try to stop the feeling. Just go with it.
It was frustrating because I knew what was coming. And the last time I experienced something kind of like that was in Inside Out. I'm not gonna say what happens in the movie, obviously, but like there was just an emotional moment in the movie, and like it really messed with me because it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the emotions were so real in this. I feel like it is so relatable.
Yeah.
And even the short film that they showed at the beginning of the movie kind of sets you up for the themes of this film. And that one, I was like, oh my God, bring the tissues.
One of the things that Achara and I both really enjoy is when you set something up and pay it off. And there are really good setups and payoffs in this movie right up to the end. And it catches you off guard. You're like, wait, what? I forgot about that. And like, this thing comes back. You're like, oh shit, like that's really cool the way they were able to like bring everything full circle. And immediately walking out of there, I'm like, how come Eternals couldn't even come anywhere near this level of touching me? Like, why? It had 3 hours to tell the story, and it didn't come anywhere near Encanto for me. But maybe you get away with a lot more in an animation, and that's the only thing I can chuck it up to. It's like you're allowed to tell stories in a more compressed manner. It's also a musical, which allows you to tell other things in a compressed manner.
Right, yeah, because the music helps to drive the story forward. And I felt, going into this, I was kind of hoping that it would be a return to form for Disney because, I mean, Coco had like a good song, the Remember Me song, which was really lovely. And I feel like this...
Isn't that Pixar?
No, it was Disney, wasn't it?
I don't know anymore. I think that's Pixar, but go ahead. It's same company, ultimately, the same parent company. It's Pixar.
Oh, produced by Pixar.
It's Pixar,
Okay, well...
Same point, you go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like this is a return to form, for me at least, where the music is so strong that I feel like kids will be singing this and enjoying it for a long time to come. Although after having said that, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they did have that song from Frozen, which everyone was singing.
That's the only song.
That's the only one, like I just think that when we were kids, there were so many good songs from so many of the cartoons, like The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas. Yeah, they all had really great music, and I feel like this one is gonna go up there with the canon of other Disney cartoons which had really, really great music and songs.
The last thing I'll say that is a positive in favor of the movie is it's hilarious. I should have front-ended with that. Like, it's a really funny movie. That's what I was also trying to get at in saying it checks off all the boxes for me, because it does everything I need in a film, in a story. Between the laughter, between the crying, between just being visually blown away.
Yeah.
It's a really, really nice film. And I think that you could just watch this at home when it comes out on streaming and on your phone or your iPad. But I think that the theatrical experience will lend itself, especially for those who don't have like an OLED television and sound system like I do. I think the theatrical experience will really lend itself to being fully immersed in this movie, and I think that's the way to enjoy this. Do subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. I'm Jaby Koay, this is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.